are you seeing in consumer behavior right now, and what clues does that give us about how they will be spending in 2021?
Well, thank you, Emily, for having me. Yes, we just reported earnings, and the consumer is holding up reasonably well around the world. In fact, in the fourth calendar quarter, it was our first fiscal quarter, we saw a sequential small improvement in spending domestically almost everywhere. In fact, in the US, we had some healthy growth of about 8%. What we're seeing is a significant shift in how people are spending money. As you might expect, there's a big shift to e-commerce, a big shift to using debit. There's significant growth in retail goods and services. The holiday season was quite strong compared to prior holiday seasons, but somewhat different, less spending on travel and also on entertainment. The stimulus payments are definitely going into the economy fairly quickly. They went out right after the new year. We saw a big jump in our debit card spending right after that. In fact, through the first 3 weeks of January, debit card spending has been 10 points stronger than it was in the fourth quarter. And around the world, it varies by country. Some are close to back to normal. Some are going into some lockdowns. But all in all, the consumer is holding up fairly well almost everywhere.
So this shift in debit, do you think that's a permanent shift towards debit cards? And what does that mean for Visa's business?
Well, a significant component of that we think is permanent. Debit has become sort of the gateway in some ways for people to move away from cash. There's a lot of categories that people are now using e-commerce for, like food and drug. That's everyday spending, and they're using debit cards online. We see that a lot of the stimulus payments go into bank accounts or on prepaid cards, and that comes out as debit spending. Our Visa Direct business uses our debit network, and so that helps a lot. In addition, even when people go to a store, they're using contactless or tap to pay, which has become extremely, popular. That tends to be debit. On the flip side, though, there's a cyclical component in that people tend to use credit for travel and entertainment, and those are still depressed. As they recover, there'll be a recovery in credit, stronger than it has been so far. And also, in tough times, people do tend to spend more money that they have in the bank than borrow money. So some of that will revert, but there's no question whatsoever that the debit outperformance is here to stay, and it reflects the acceleration of the move away from cash.
Vasant, just 30 seconds left. Can you give us any more hints about Visa's crypto services and how they'll work?
Well, we have put an ecosystem together to enable cryptocurrencies or central bank digital currencies. We've worked with most of the major players. I think there are 35 of them we have partnerships with. Whether it's a store of value or a medium of exchange, as long as we can do it in compliance with all the laws and regulations, we will do what we can to enable both transactions that allow it to be held in your account like an asset like gold, or used for a purchase, whether it's conversion to fiat or just as a cryptocurrency. And we're putting an infrastructure in place to enable all that. And in many ways, it's not that different than the infrastructure we put in place to enable trading in the 160 currencies that we currently support.